Welcome everyone to the 3/3/2023 Mother Mary Monthly Message. My name's Samara Grace Daniels, and as many of you know, if you've been tuning in, I've been channeling Mother Mary since 1998. Wow. And it has been a wild and wonderful ride, and I wouldn't change it for anything. And all along the way, her messages and her information are always about love, but they're also kind of designed to help you in your day-to-day interactions. Because, you know, it's wonderful to say, well, I want to be loving, and then something happens, or I want to be loving, and then, you know, a divorce comes along, or an injury comes along, or a child is hurt, or whatever it would be. And so she's really very, very good at helping people to navigate the challenges of the human life and to be able to navigate it in a way where you don't feel burdened by life, but rather hopefully encouraged and even sparkly, you know, about your life. And so tonight she'll be talking a little bit about this year of 2023 and how challenging it may be for people, because there is a lot of turbulence. We were talking just before our recording started about the winds and the snow and the rain and the monsoons and then the earthquakes and the, you know, all the different things that are happening. And you think, well, has that always been that way? Or is it just that we have so much media now, we get to hear about it more? And even more importantly, you know, what do we do? And so tonight's message will be hopefully inspiring, and also reminding you that really each of us has a lot of power and authority that we may not always use to its fullest extent. So without further ado, I will just sort of shut my eyes and bring through Mother Mary and see what she'd like to tell you tonight. But I think the first thing I want to say is spring is right around the corner. And what does that mean? Well, I want to not only talk about the weather, but what about the spring in your step? You know, what brings the spring into your step? Meaning, how are you feeling as you navigate your life? And if you're not feeling much of a spring in your step, how can you regain it? How can you bring it back? How can you even initiate it if you're not feeling it right now? How do you do that? You know, what really needs to happen? And so in this process, one of the things to realize is, where are you putting your attention? So question number one, where am I putting my attention? And if you're putting your attention out there, right, on things you have to do, on the weather, on politics, on, you know, whatever's going on, the amount of energy that will be coming into you is coming from that which you are focusing on. So if you're focusing on bad weather, injuries, political upsets, you know, all of that, your mind can only take in that energy and then work itself into sometimes a frenzy, thinking, well, you know, what can I do about the weather? Or what can I do about this? Or what can I do about that? Do I have snow tires? You know? And so all of your navigating is taking place in a very narrow band of energy, much of which is difficult energy, because that's where people tend to focus, right? So where is my attention? If I'm focusing first on what's out there, then the amount of energy that I will have to solve my issues or plan my day or, you know, do whatever I need to do is extremely, extremely limited. So what do I do instead? And I'm not saying, you know, we're not monks in monasteries in the Himalayan mountains. We still have lives. But what I'm saying is, if your first point of focus is out there, you've already decreased and diminished your capacity to deal with it. So the very first job for everyone, every day, and sometimes several or more times during the day, is to go in, go up, and then go out. So to go inside, meditate, dance, walk, go out in nature, whatever is your particular part of joy. And then invite your higher self, invite your angels, guides, teachers, etc., to shower you with energy, to connect with your energy, to fill you with their energy that then becomes your energy. So you reach up in a way. I mean, it's not really up, but we'll use that for the analogy. You reach up and you pull in divine energy, blessed energy, infinite energy, right? And you let that move all the way through your body, especially in your heart and especially in that little mind that often is so wrangled up with whatever your worries are. And so in those moments, and it can be as simple as 15 minutes in the morning, it doesn't have to be a lengthy process if that's all the time that you have. But I want you to realize when you don't do that, you are limiting your capacity in so many ways. And so by the end of the day, you know, the car's out of gas. It's like it's just limping along because you haven't taken in the high octane fuel that is available to you. And some of you, I know you already do this, but in this time that we're in right now, which is a high stress, world changing energy, it's even more important to sort of take periodic breaks during the day and, you know, kiss a tree, you know, take a walk, have some tea, go inside and just say whatever your favorite I am statement is. And many of you already know these teachings. If you don't, please look them up. What you say is how you are. So if I say, oh, I'm just so tired, the universe goes, as you wish. All right, be tired. But if you say, I am a glorious light, if you say, I am a devoted woman or man of God, if you say, I am a creator with God, if you, whatever is your favorite to say, now you're acknowledging that you're not only your human story, you are also all of the gorgeous energies of light that you brought with you when you first came. So in these times that we're in, realize the fuel isn't, generally speaking, out there. It's not. It's not. The fuel is above you to bring into you, to then deal with whatever you need to deal with. And so that first question, what am I focusing on, should immediately take you into, is that for my highest good? No, wait a minute, let me go inside and then just ask for the help, ask for the support, ask for the energy to then be able to look back out on your terrain and say, oh, okay, now I see how I can best navigate this situation. And it's so simple. It's so simple. And yet I know in your lives, sometimes it's not easy to say, wait a minute, I need to take that break. So whatever you need to do, it's funny. I know some of you have those apps, you know, on your phones and on your Fitbits and all that. But instead of saying, oh, it's time to exercise, set your little Fitbit or your phone to say, it's time to be peaceful. It's time to join with Creator, you know, whatever that would be for you. And put those little 10 or 15 minute increments throughout your day. And now your fuel will be sustained for you to then deal with, you know, anything and everything that is still important to you to deal with. So that's the first question. Where am I focusing? Second question, is that for my highest good? Probably not. Go inside. Okay. The next part, many of you will already know as well, and that is call on your tribe. These last few years, with all that has happened and people having to isolate themselves or feeling that they did and all this and that, and things being shut down and not going to work and all that, many of you forgot or lost touch with what I'll call your tribe. And for all of those, many of them are on the call right now that have taken White Star Reiki with Samara. That has been in another way to connect with your tribe. And you're scattered geographically in many cases, but to connect with each other. And many of you in these last few weeks especially have noticed what happens when there's a difficulty you're having and you text your tribe and say, oh, could you please help me with this situation or that situation? And then within moments, not even a minute, within moments, you look back and you see responses from a variety of people saying, I'm with you, I've got you, I'm sending light, I'm sending Reiki, you're going to be fabulous, it's wonderful, right? Because now what's happening is a kind of triangulation, right? So you've already hopefully done this, you've connected, right, with all of that. You've come back and looked into your world, and now here's a situation that perhaps you're feeling a little overwhelmed by or concerned about. So in addition to this, now you reach out to your tribe. And I use that terminology because all of you know you have wonderful people in your world, family members, etc., but they may or may not be your tribe. Your tribe supports you 110%. Your tribe does not judge you. Your tribe does not have an agenda to make you do this or want you to do that. Your tribe wants your greatest joy, peace, and well-being, period. So in these times that we're in, when you reach out to your tribe in whatever modality is easy these days, and you have so many of them, and feel that coming back to you, now you know, okay, I'm not alone in dealing with the situation, whatever it might be. I have myself. I'm in line and in harmony with my guides and angels and all of that. And this is huge, and I have my tribe. The people in this life now who know me, who love me, and who support me. And this tribal energy is more and more of what will sustain everyone in the changes that are happening, and even more importantly, in the creations that each of you are feeling inspired to create. Because whatever it is, whether it's someone's first White Star Reiki class tomorrow, yay, Joan, or it's, moving to a place, or it's doing something, what you're going to feel is, wow, I have some true blue friends, comrades, my tribe. And as you move on, what's happening is in the world, there's still a lot of the old naysayers, oh, well, you could try that, but it's not going to work because after all, I tried it 10 years ago. Blah, 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 blah. You have all that, right? And even within your families and friends who love you, of course, but they don't have the same viewpoint as your tribe. Your tribe views you as infinitely capable. That's how your tribe sees you, infinitely capable of doing what is for your highest good, whenever that will unfold, period. And so in these coming days, it's going to be more and more important to realize, I want to feel my tribe, I want to support my tribe. And so when you see those little posts or texts or whatever, if you have a moment to say, I'm with you, that's all it takes. I'm with you, and a little emoji of some kind. Because now you know when it's your turn, when you need someone to respond or be with you in a situation that's difficult, they will be right there with you. So it's a practice of, it's like creating a different kind of intranet. Not internet, but intranet. And it's an intranet of light that carries compassion and joy. And it also carries this belief in you that you are capable of doing whatever is for your highest good. and that that tribe, that group is with you. And therefore, you are not alone in navigating whatever is needing to be navigated. So how do you find your tribe? Many of you have already found your tribe. So now it's a question of being a little more fearless in realizing, I know many people are busy, so perhaps you don't always want to pick up the phone, and call them. And what if they're busy, right? Text them and say, I'm thinking of you. If you have a moment, I'd love to chat. So what you're doing is reversing all of the energy that took place during the craziness of the pandemic, where there was a withdrawal of connection. Because many of you are still paying the price for that, in feeling apart, feeling separate, feeling even lonely sometimes, right? And so how do you change that? By connecting with the people that obviously that you would like to connect with, knowing that yes, you may text them and maybe not hear back for a few hours or even a day. And it doesn't mean they don't love you. It just means they're busy. But you've reached out. And so this navigation is really the next step in this creation of the intranet of light. And all over the world now, not only in Mother Mary group, but you've seen them all over the internet, wonderful groups, positive thinking, all of that. And it's beautiful. But there are economies of scale. So for instance, if you go to a class where there is 1,500 people in the class, you're going to have a wonderful time. You're going to meet 2 or 3 people that you feel a little bit closer to. But it's much more difficult to make a deep connection. And so in our small group or in the groups that you have already established, spend some energy toward communication and connection. And then be brave and say whatever's in your heart. And I'm going to ask Samara to do that in just a moment. But when you text them, you can just say hello, but you could also say, I'm having a hard day. Could you just send me a hug or a kiss or some love? And what this is doing, it's re-establishing a baseline that has ebbed over these last years. And in that baseline is all of the hopes and dreams and desires and creations that each of you are holding on to right now. And so it isn't that the group necessarily helps you in the old paradigm way, like, oh, I'll do this and you can do this and you can do that. It may or may not be that way. But if you know that they're with you energetically, loving you, supporting you, saying, we're with you, it's really going to be a boost to allowing you to be brave in doing whatever you might like to do next. So many of you know that Samara has a lease in Arizona. She's been here for a few years now, 2, I guess, a little bit over 2, and it's up in May. And so a few days ago, I said, start packing. And she said, Mother Mary, where am I going? And the good news is our beautiful Christine with her orange scarf, you can see here, has invited Samara to spend the summer in Colorado Springs. And so that's absolutely in the works. But Samara was a little like, well, and of course she'll stop and see Danae on the way. There's Danae right next to Christine in Santa Fe. But it's like, well, Mother Mary, could you show me, after the summer, what does that look like? And I'm sharing it with this group because a couple of things are really important to know. The more that you would feel, or if you would feel to invite Samara to come and spend some time, whether that's to do Reiki, whether that's to channel Mother Mary, whether that's whatever that might be, there is an energetic matrix that is forming by all the people that all of you visit, truly all of you visit. But there's something about, you know, Samara's been traveling with me for over a quarter of a century now, so she's pretty accustomed to it. And there's something about establishing our energy with you in your community. So then you invite whoever you're choosing to invite of your tribe and a few others, and then off they go. And, you know, it's part of this beautiful, beautiful intranet or matrix that we're establishing. Because how do you shift a world that has been built on a certain aspect of domination, right? You shift it through cooperation. So how do you make more cooperation so there doesn't have to be quite as much competition, right? Cooperation comes from soul level love, the kind I'm talking about. Cooperation comes from soul level love. And so if you feel to do so later, you can call or email Samara and just say, I've got a bed you can stay in and I'll put a group together and come and see me. Because that's what we're going to probably have her do after the summer, and just travel about and do kind of what we're doing here, but also the idea of Mary's Angels has come and kind of come into view and then kind of come in the background, because there hasn't yet been, Richard, the level of cooperation that we require for it to be full blown. And so we'll talk more about that at another point in time. But for each of you, there's this aspect of self-fulfillment, which we absolutely want for all of you. And yet what I want to tell you is, in these times, the self-fulfillment that you would really most enjoy and treasure and be happy about will only come from the cooperation that you create with your soul group. Because that's the new earth, if you will. That's the new earth. And so what you're going to find is that more and more of you will feel called, I guess that would be the best word, called to create something, to do something that perhaps you haven't done yet. And when you're called like that, sometimes fear raises its objections, right? And so how do you offset your own personal fears? You do it by having a community of co-creative soul family that says, well, of course you can. How can I help you? And that's really what this is all about. And we brought through the White Star Reiki really for this purpose. It isn't something that you do necessarily to each other. Although, yes, you're doing Reiki with each other. But what it is an igniting of the template of your divine perfection. It's really that simple. And that juicy and delicious as well. And so what does it do? And many of you have already taken it with Samara, and what it does, and perhaps we can get an amen somewhere here, is it reminds you, thank you, Danae, it reminds you of how it can be, how people can be with each other, not judging each other, not comparing each other, not jockeying for position with each other, but rather truly seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing each other, and ready to do what you're wanting to do, knowing that there's lots and lots of people that are like, yeah, go for it. We'll see you. We'll help you in any way that we can. One of the other things I just want to share is that by having your soul group and being in more direct communication in whatever forms feel right to you, it will help offset the amount of diatribe energy and negative energy that is bouncing around out there. And it's going to be important to start just reminding each other, well, yeah, we saw that, but here's what we can do. And I know many of you noticed the terrible train wreck in Ohio and the spill that happened and all of that. And so what do you do with that? Well, of course you send Reiki, absolutely, absolutely. But beyond that, look at the trajectories in the world, your own personal trajectories, but also the creator trajectories, and realize how long has it been since the infrastructure has been a priority? How long has it been since trains were repaired and train lines and all of that? What was the priority? And so working with these trajectories is also going to be an important part of what will happen, in the coming days. So I know I've talked for a while, but I want to just wrap it up before we come back to my group to have any questions from you. So the very first thing for all of you in 2023 is to realize, where am I putting my attention? And if it's out there, stop. Go inside, go up, meditate, 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 connect, dance, whatever's your thing. Fill yourself with that energy. Now you will have the fuel to deal with whatever's out there. That's going to be important. The next thing that you can all do is stay connected to your soul family. Even if it's a quick text to say, hi, how are you, whatever, it's really going to buoy your own capacity, your own fueling, if you will, to do what you want to do. And I guess the last thing is to just realize this time of 2023 is why you came, these years now, to shift the world from a world of, I don't know, just selfishness, I guess I'll say, into a world of compassion and beauty and prosperity. Because each of you came with a piece of that in your divine matrix. So the more you keep connecting with that, you'll know how to manifest that, how to share that each step of the way. And you'll have your soul family going, yep, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So I'm going to stop the video for just a moment to be able to then talk to my beautiful people online. But I just want to remind you, you have the power, you have the authority, you have the will. No more excuses. Be you, be you. It's time. So for all of you, I say, I love you, and I'm going to stop the recording now.